Would you pay more tax? Would you be open to a Scandinavian-style tax system, where taxes are high but the government take cares of the majority of things? Fully funded health, child care, education, aged care, etc. This system is often given as one of the reasons these countries are so happy, because they don't have to worry about these things and therefore people can work in something they enjoy as opposed to for the money. Obviously everyone in this sub would still be on a six-figure salary after paying 50 in tax. Sorry to not directly answer your question, but I think the more common complaint is how effectively government currently spends our tax dollars. Yeah, but I'd want smarter people in government and more transparency first. Kinda like open source software. I don't want to double check the code, but I want the ability to if I or smarter people than I have suspicions. Edito, and remove lobbying, which in turn fixes the media problem. No. There are plenty of tax reforms possible before increasing income tax. Boomer retirees, landlords, family trusts, too many ways to legally reduce tax on passive incomes. I'd pay it, but I'd also want a massive overhaul of the current allocation between public and private in this country as part of the buy-in. I'm not paying 60c in the dollar so some snotty-nosed inner-city private school can have their 7th floating tennis court. I pay over $1,000 each month in childcare. Higher taxes would leave me with the same take-home pay, but likely make society better overall. No real strong feelings either way on my end. 57 tax for worse healthcare than Australia? Thanks, but no thanks. Source: I'm from Sweden. I think most issues are related to housing and infrastructure. It's no good taxing and building more hospitals if it doesn't target all the population groups. Taxing housing is great, but if it doesn't mean more people or houses get made in areas that could support more people, as they are well established, then the tax does fall short in some ways. Wait till you check out what our income tax rates used to be decades ago. Yes, but I would expect the same from the top end of town. International corporations, businesses masquerading as tax-exempt charities, millionaires and billionaires, and anyone who has a tax exemption or a taxpayer subsidy or both should be means tested for any exemptions and subsidies. I earn a 5-figure salary and the majority of that is going into my mortgage. What are the company tax rates and how does their government manage the sale of their resources? Australia already relies too heavily on income tax to pay their bills. We already are paying indirectly via negative gearing for property investors. No, we can't even build roads properly. Giving these Muppets more cash won't get us anything better than what we already have. If we took royalties properly from mining companies, then I'm all for it. The last thing we need is to give this government more money. There's no guarantee it will get well spent. Lol, you think between all the taxes and GST we're not already paying 50 of income in taxes? Why would I pay more tax when I can barely afford the roof over my damned head? What's the government doing about that? Damned nothing. No. I pay more than enough in income tax. If anything, per the Henry Tax Review, we source too much tax from income. There are plenty of alternative sources of tax to fund Scandinavian-style public services. One I am particularly keen on is death duties. I would happily see the introduction of a death duty, particularly if it means paying less tax and enjoying greater public services while I'm alive. Of course, I'm minimizing my tax. If anybody in this country doesn't minimize their tax, they want their head read. As a government, I can tell you you're not spending it that well, that we should be paying extra. Am I in favor of a universal tax bracket? Yes. Do I want to pay even more tax? Hell no. Being taxed at a higher rate the more you earn is insane to me. Scandinavian countries are small, homogeneous, high-trust societies. Doubt it would be effective here. Just look at our history of bloated public programs and cost overruns on infrastructure projects. The two system needs major reform to better address the structural deficit, but no, I don't think taxing individuals more is the right answer. We should be looking at taxing capital more efficiently and reducing wasteful spending. I mean, anyone who earns over $90,000 pays a shitload of tax already. Not sure how much more people could really pay. I wouldn't mind if we had the exact same socio-economic outcomes. I moved to Australia from a lower tax, lower cost of living country, and I was very happy with the trade-offs. I haven't lived under the Scandinavian system, but at face value, I have nothing against it. I'm mostly neutral about it. I have a few simple wishes in life. I didn't move to Australia solely because of the tax system. Based on what I have heard about the Scandinavian tax system, I would quite likely still move to Australia if they had it. No. Government is not competent enough. No. Nordic countries are more direct and honest than Australia. We would have even more corruption and wastage. Eventually they would ask for more and more tax until we are taxed at 80. It would be useful for respondents saying yes to nominate what tax bracket they are currently in, not their actual income, just the bracket would do, so as to provide some context to the reply. Otherwise you're going to get old mate who's working a casual retail barista gig for 2 shifts a week, or someone in the lowest $18,201 $45,000 bracket who will advocate for everyone else paying significantly more tax on a highly progressive bracket scheme so that the government-subsidized services they use will become cheaper, free with little to no impact to their cash flow. Nope, already pay enough in tax for it to get wasted on bullshit, and I don't blame anyone legally looking to pay less tax or small people illegally not paying as long as it's not from drug dealing proceeds. Yes. I like to see the folks in Alice Spring each get a 5-bedroom house with media room fitted with 102-inch OLED TV, indoor and outdoor pool, tennis court, all utilities paid for by the government, $3,000 a week allowance. Another $2,000 a week for each child. Utopia. Don't forget 25 GST. Not while we have virtually open door immigration. If we decided on zero population growth, happy to fund. Yes, but I think the ask is a little more complicated than just pay more taxes. What people want is a better social security net, and that requires better taxation on high net worth individuals and high net worth companies. Australia is too willing to just give away its resources to the highest bidder without considering the long-term impact to its own common man citizens. I like that many Scandinavian politicians are part-time and have to hold real jobs. They also don't have two massively dominant politics parties. But that can have the downside of many hung and failing parliaments. We pay high enough tax as it is, we just have shit governments, and Australia isn't as good as some Aussies believe. So many better countries than here. No. And people from those countries are not happy. Get real and meet some of them, I have. I would happily pay more tax knowing the majority of that money is going towards health, education, child care, aged care, infrastructure, etc. No. Only if it was a flat tax so it's the same for all. Always looking for ways to avoid or minimize tax because they can't spend it properly. I'd rather pay for the services as I need them. Especially if I'm going to be child-free and don't need free childcare or education. No, I don't need the government taking more of my income to waste. They're doing a pretty shitty job at the moment, so no. Sure, if I could choose where the taxes go. I much prefer Australia. You have more opportunity to get ahead if you have the aptitude and a bit of luck. Yes, there is less of a social safety net, but it also means that success is punished less. I know people doing my exact job in Norway that have far less disposable income and don't have the same large properties and living space. Lol, no. Everything the government touches becomes shit. Free market is far more efficient. Yes, I would, but it would have to come with elimination of negative gearing and elimination of CGT discount.